Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, welcome to tonight's talk. Tonight's talk will be Brief Buddhist Perspective on conflict. So I decided to give this talk because sometimes when we look at the news, we will see, nowadays we see a lot of unrest, a lot of sometimes chaos, sometimes violence, a lot of conflict going on in the world, like that. So how can we, what is the Buddhist perspective on these things, on these conflicts? And maybe if we have time, we can explore what can we do if we are caught in such a conflict. Okay, so before we go deeper, I would like to start off with one of the stories from the Dhammapada. Okay, is Dhammapada verse 197. Among those who hate, among men who hate, we live without hating anyone. Indeed, we live very happily in good health among the ailing. Among men who are ailing, we live in good health. Indeed, we live very happily, not striving for sensual pleasures, among those who strive for them. Among those who strive for them, we live without striving. Okay. So where did this Dhamma verse come about? So it is this verse was the verses was given by the Buddha when the Buddha was living among the Sakyans, with reference to the cessation of a quarrel among his kinsmen. Okay? So it's like this. Last time there are two countries, there are two tribes, the Sakyans and the Koreans. Okay, so they live on one side of the river. So Sakyan one side, Korean the other side. Okay, so the river's name was the Rohini River. Okay, then they cultivated their fields on both sides of the river. So at that time, there was I think what they call it, something like a drought, and the crops started to droop and wither. Then the farmers of both sides assemble, and the Korean farmers, they say, oh, if this water is diverted to both sides of the river, then there's not enough for you and me. But our crops will ripen with a single watering. So let us have the water. For those who want to have a really a real life experience of this, you can visit Nepal, our Nepal monastery, our Himalayan monastery. I think it's around June, July, August, when it's the rainy season, and before rainy season, they will start to prepare the crops already, prepare the paddy already. They'll plow the fields, plant the seeds and all that. Then when it's raining and all that, then they lead the water into the fields, flooding the fields like that. Then after that, after they let the water into the fields, then after that the paddy will grow. Okay. So it's the same for those of the Sakyans and Koreans also. So the Korean farmers say, "Oh, let us have the water." Then the Sakyans, they say, "Oh, after you have filled your storehouses with the grains, then we will not have the heart to take gold and silver and baskets and sacks in our hands to go to your place house to house seeking favors at your hands. Our crops also will ripen with a single watering. So let us have this water." So what this means is that the Sakyans replied that, "Hey, you earn your money already, then you have your paddy already, then we have to go there and buy from you and ask for favors from you. Our hearts cannot take that. So our crops also will ripen with a single watering, then you must let us have the water." And the Korean says, we will not give to you. And Sakyan said, "Then we also don't give to you." Like children fighting, eh? But you see, in the world, how sometimes high level talks also become like this. Becomes like a children's squabble, children's quarrel like that. Anyway, so the talk between them turned bitter, and until one side cannot endure it anymore, so he strike the other side. One person from the other strike with a blow. Then the other person returned the blow, and then a fight. And then there become a fight. And during the fight, after the fight, both sides they make things worse by commenting on the origin of the two royal families. Okay, because the Koreans and the Sakyans, they actually originated from one family. Okay, the 9 children of King, I think it's Okaku. The name is Okaku. King Okaku, which is a direct lineage from Mahasamatara. We will not go deep into that. But anyway, they have the eldest sister, and another king. They became husbands and wife, and then after that they started the Korean. And 4 sisters and 4 brothers. They married. The 4 sisters married the 4 brothers. Of course, this one we cannot judge it now from. You cannot judge from the moral practices now, because during that time, the bloodline, the caste system in the bloodline was far more important than the harms of intermarriages. Okay, so the 4 sisters married the 4 brothers, and then they started the Sakyans. They call themselves Sakyans. And then gradually the family grew and grew, like that. So they started to comment when they were fighting and quarreling. They started to comment about the origin of the 2 royal families. Okay. Then after that, when they started to quarrel and fight about and comment about the 2 royal families, they reported this to their ministers. Then ministers also angry. Then they reported to the royal families, and then royal families also angry. And then after that, they started to pack their armies and prepare for war. So they assembled their soldiers and then prepared to fight at the river Rohini. Okay. At that morning, as the Buddha surveyed the world, at dawn. And in his Buddha's eyes, he saw his relatives, these Sakyans and Kolyans. Then the Buddha thought, if I refrain from going to them, these men will destroy each other. It is my duty to go to them. So therefore, the Buddha flew through the air alone to the top of the middle of the Rohini River. So the Buddha was in the sky, in the middle of over the Rohini River. So when the Buddha appeared, and when the Buddha's relatives, kinsmen, saw the Buddha, they threw away their weapons, and then they paid respect to the Buddha. So the Buddha talked. The Buddha said to his relatives and kinsmen, what is all this quarrel about, great king? And the king said, we don't know, Reverend Sir. Then who is likely to know? Buddha asked. The commander-in-chief will know. So they started to ask and started to trace back to the farmers, the slave laborers. Then the slave laborers say, oh, the quarrel is about water, Reverend Sir. Then the Buddha asked the king, how much is water worth, great king? Then the king said, oh, very little, Reverend Sir. Then the Buddha asked again, how much are Katiyas worth? Katiyas means the warrior caste. And the king said, Katiyas are beyond price, Venerable Sir. So the Buddha said, it is not fitting that because of a little water, you should destroy warriors who are beyond price, isn't it? And after the Buddha said that, both sides fell silent. Then the Buddha told them, oh, great kings, why do you act like this? If I am not present here today, you would have sat flowing a river of blood. You have acted in a most unbecoming manner. You live in enmity, indulging in hatred. I live free from hatred. You live afflicted with the sickness of the evil passions. I live free from disease. Here, disease means the disease of defilements. You live in eager pursuit of the 5 kinds of sensual pleasures. I live free from the pursuit of sensual pleasures. And with that, the Buddha said these verses. Indeed, we live very happily, not hating anyone. Among those who hate, among men who hate, we live without hating anyone. Indeed, we live very happily, in good health among the ailing. Among men who are ailing, we live in good health. Indeed, we live very happily, not striving for sensual pleasures. Among these who strive for them, among those who strive for the sensual pleasures, we live without striving. So do you want to live happily without hating anyone? Do you want to live in good health among men who have diseases? Do you want to live without striving, happily without striving among those who strive for sensual pleasures? Maybe you say you want, but whether it's true or not, or whether you want to pay the price for that or not, we will see. Paying the price means taking leave, quitting your job, coming to meditate, becoming a monk or a nun or a full-time yogi, like that. Yeah, so from this verse, we can see that, even during Buddha's time, there are conflicts between countries, kings, people, etc. So what is the Buddha's perspective on this, on war, on conflict, war, like that. Let us see. Actually, from Buddha's perspective or from Dhamma's perspective, war or conflict is a manifestation of suffering. It's not a solution to it. Sometimes we think that, I fight the war to end all wars. No, the Buddha, the Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma doesn't think like that. The Buddha Dhamma sees that war is a manifestation of suffering. It's not a solution to it. Like that. And even the winner is not free from suffering, that is why the Buddha never praised war even when kings asked him for guidance. In the Dhammapada 201, there's this verse, victory breeds hatred. Oh wow. Hey, doesn't victory breeds winners? No, in Buddhist from Buddha's point of view, if there is a war, victory breeds hatred. The defeated lives in pain. Happily, the peaceful live, giving up victory and defeat. Like that. So let us see how come the Buddha say like this? So the origin of this Dhamma verse was that last time there were two kings, King Pasenadi of Kosala and King Ajatasattu of Magadha. So King Ajatasattu was the nephew of King Pasenadi. So both of them, they fought near this village called Kasika. And King Pasenadi was defeated 3 times. So as he returned from defeat the 3rd time, he thought to himself, since I have not been able to defeat this milk-faced youth. Milk-face means the face like milk like that, maybe very white or very young. He's saying that he's a young youth like that, like a kindergarten kid like that. What is the use of my living anymore? So this King Pasenadi, he refused to eat and he just lie in his bed. Then the news of what he did spread throughout cities and monasteries. Then the monks reported this matter to the Buddha. He say, "Oh, Venerable Sir, there's a report that says that the King Pasenadi, who suffered defeat 3 times near the Kasika village, has just now returned from defeat, and he has refused to eat and has remained lying on his bed, saying that, since I have not been able to defeat this milk-faced youth, what is the use of my living anymore?" Like that. So when the Buddha heard this report, the Buddha said to the monks, "Oh, bhikkhus, by winning a victory, a man produces hatred, and he that is defeated is afflicted with suffering." And so saying, the Buddha said the following stanzas. Victory produces hatred. He that is defeated is afflicted with suffering. He that has renounced both victories and defeat lives in tranquility and happiness. Like that. There is also another sutta I think it's in the sutta. It's in the suttas, in the Sutta Nikaya. It should be. So the Buddha also said, the winner has win something. Win what? Win somebody that is going to conquer him in the future. And the loser suffers in pain also. There's another of this also. So you see in, in Buddhist Buddha Dhamma perspective, the winning is not free from suffering. In a war, in conflict, it always produces fear among beings of both countries, and maybe even other countries. It produces fear, produces grief, produces loss of property, loss of families, friends, produces trauma, produces hatred that results in future conflict. So that is why the winner is not free from suffering. And that is why the Buddha never praised war, even when kings asked him for guidance. There was one occasion when this same king, I think it's King Ajatasattu, he wanted to attack another country. So he asked his minister, his minister's name was, I think, Vasakara. Then he told him to go to the Buddha and tell the Buddha that, he want to attack this country. Then this king tell his minister, hey, see what the Buddha react, like that. See what the Buddha say. So this minister, Vasakara, he went to the Buddha, and then after that, he told the Buddha that, dear great venerable sir, the king wants to attack this group of people, this country. And the Buddha also never praised, he also never reject. He also never discouraged. The Buddha just, what did the Buddha do? The Buddha just asked Venerable Ananda, Ananda, does the people in these countries, the rulers in these countries, do they have meetings often? Do they have harmonious meetings? Do they have meetings harmoniously? Do they live harmoniously, etc.? There's seven factors for non-decline of these people. 7 factors for non-decline. So the Buddha said. Then after that, the Venerable Ananda said, yeah, they are doing like that. They have these 7 qualities. Then the Buddha said, as long as these people, they have these 7 qualities, then it is impossible to win over them, like that. So in a way, the Buddha doesn't like openly discourage the king, but the Buddha in another way, I wouldn't say hint, but pointed out the causes and conditions that this country is strong, and it is not good to start a war with them, like that. But the minister Vasakara, he went back to the king and reported to the king. Then because they are very prone to war, he wants to start a war there. Then he thought, okay, then I shall make them I shall make them unable to fulfill these 7 factors of non-decline. And after that, they use some tricks and tactics and strategy, and ultimately, the other countries' rulers, they really lost the 7 factors. Let's say some of the factors. After that, after they lost the 7 factors for non-decline, then this King Ajatasattu just attack and conquer them, like that. So we can say that they got the wrong idea. Actually, the Buddha is telling them not to attack. But what? They have the intention to attack, so they will try ways and means to attack. So where does all this conflict come from? Does it come from, right, wrong? Does it come from nationality? Where does it come from? So from Buddha Dhamma perspective, for unwholesomeness, there are 3 unwholesome roots. And with regard to war and conflict, sometimes it started by lobha, greed. Greed for what? Greed for land, greed for power, greed for resources. Resources includes money, minerals, oil, etc. In the modern era, right? Then it may also arise due to hatred, maybe due to revenge, due to humanization. They don't like this group of people. They don't like that specific group of people, and then they just start a war against them. It's possible now also. I think we have also read about this in the previous wars also, right? Like that. And war and conflict can also stem from delusion, moha. They may think, oh, this will bring peace. Or if you're not by my side, if you're not with me, you are the enemy. This kind of wrong views. Actually, a lot also stem from wrong views. They may say that we have sovereignty over this land. No, we have sovereignty over this land. Then fight already. When it comes to a conflict. Okay. So basic Buddha Dhamma is about unwholesome mental states getting. Okay, sorry, we dropped. Okay, line dropped a bit. We're back. Okay, it is about unwholesome states being institutionalized and being amplified and being developed into conflicts that involves many people, like that lah. So when we look at war and conflict, it is very important for us to have a right view. It is not just about one leader or the evil leader or that evil leader. Sometimes we need to look deeper. How to look deeper? Look at the 3 unwholesome roots of greed, hatred, delusion, and also karma. We'll go to karma in the next slide. So when these defilements are shared by millions, it becomes national policy in some countries, like that. In some countries, for only a specific group of people, they are the decision makers for policy. So their greed, hatred, and delusion will determine the direction of the policy, like that. But how do they get the power? So in a democracy, then people elect them, and if it is in other systems of governance, sometimes they inherit the power. In some government systems, they inherit the power from their previous generations. Or in some governance systems, they get the power by positions, like that. But anyway, policy depends on the greed, hatred, and delusion of those people also. So if it is war and conflict, if they have very strong greed, hatred, and delusion, then they may make the decision to start wars, to have, whether it's economic war or whether it's armed conflict, etc. Like that. So when we look at this, we gain a little bit more understanding. Sometimes we think, why that person do this? Why that person do that? That's because of greed, hatred, and delusion. They have unwise attention. That's why. And also, we want to talk about karma. When there is a war, when there is a war, then the leaders who order killing or bring out the conflict, they are creating heavy, unwholesome karma. Okay, and those and the soldiers who go to the battlefields to kill intentionally, they create unwholesome karma with varying weight depending on intention, cohesion, and mental states. But there are some exceptions. Soldiers who kill, of course, they will accumulate unwholesome karma. But in the army, in the armed forces, not just army, in the armed forces, and back home, for the homeland security and all that, there are also medics, paramedics, nurses, storemen. So some of them, they may not create unwholesome karma. Some of them, they may create some wholesome karma. By how? By treating the sick and all that. This is one example. Like that. So as long as they do not get involved in the killing, and they do not have intention to kill, then at least they are not involved. They may not be involved in the killing karma. Depends on their intentions, actually. We cannot say, oh, they never, then they never, then they do not accumulate. Because sometimes, the medics, sometimes they're out in the field treating, and then I don't know, maybe they may set poison or something like that to poison the other, bring poison for poisoning the enemy or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, for those who just focus on saving lives, nursing the sick, then they may accumulate wholesome karma. Then civilians that are caught in war, so they are often they are experiencing results of past karma, because sometimes they may not even want to create this war, but causes and conditions, situations are beyond them. So it turns out that these things happen like that. So why is there war and conflict? Because of greed, hatred, delusion, and karma. And when we understand this, and when you look at when you read the news, and you see a lot of unjust and unfair things and chaos happening in the world or something like that, sometimes we get angry, sometimes we get sad, sometimes we get very agitated. That is when we have fallen into unwise attention. We have taken things to be I, you, right, wrong, fair or unfair, justice, injustice, etc. We have concepts. Okay? So, right, at least nearer to the view that is nearer to right view is that, all these things happens because of greed, hatred, and delusions of beings, and also the karma of beings, and causes and conditions of beings. That is why these wars and conflicts happen. The perpetrator, the attacker, they are creating causes of sufferings for themselves in the future. And those who are being attacked and killed and maybe they do not even want this war, but they're being sent to fight, and they're being killed. They are creating unwholesome karma in the present, and also experiencing the results of their own unwholesome karma from the past. So when we look at it, it is just a whole bunch of unwholesome karma being created in the present, and beings experiencing the results of their unwholesome karma accumulated in the past. Those who were killed now, probably they may have killed some beings in the past. Those who kill now, they may experience being killed by others in the future. Maybe this life, maybe other future lives. And if it doesn't ripen like that, it may ripen as being sick, loss of age. That means they die young. They have a very sick life in the future, and also reborn in the four woeful states, like that. So after we understand this, then what is our response? How can we respond to war and conflict? So the Dhamma response is compassion. Not judgment, compassion. Judgment means, hey, he is right, he is wrong, she is right, she is wrong, like that. So Dhamma response is compassion. Compassion for the attacker and compassion for the one who is being attacked. Like that. And also one thing is that in Buddha Dhamma point of view, there is no just war. Killing is always unwholesome, whether it is legally justified, even when socially praised, even when framed as defensive. Okay? There's no just war. And there's also no just killing. No killing is just. Even in some countries where they have festivals and then they have to slaughter maybe like buffaloes or cow or sheep, lambs, to as a sacrifice or something like that. Sometimes the butcher, when they cutting the head of the animal, then maybe they may not have enough strength. Then when they cut, they cannot cut they cannot totally sever the head. So sometimes the animal, this is a life story, and then the animal was there and shouting and crying and all that. Then there's one man who's a very kind person. So he thought, this animal is suffering. I should go and end its life, end its suffering. So he took the knife, a young man, strong young man, and then with one stroke of the knife, he managed to sever the head, like that. So even though one may kill another being like this to reduce their suffering, but according to Buddha Dhamma, at the end of the at their mind state, at the end when they kill, definitely it is unwholesome. Okay? So even when framed as defensive, so the highest ideal, this one not many people can do, but the highest ideal of the Buddha's disciples, the Buddha's instructions to his disciples is that even if a person take a saw and saw you from your waist, at your waist, saw you into two. If there's any thought of anger or hatred, then that person is not my disciple. Like that. But it's not easy. Really not easy, really not easy. We have to admit that. But there is an ideal for us to attain. Okay. So the best thing is actually cultivate Sila Samadhi Panya and get out of samsara lah. It's just too difficult. Samsara, not a fun place actually. Okay. For countries, even when defensive, even when they say some countries attack them, and then they say they're defensive and all that. No matter defensive or not, then if there's killing, there's unwholesomeness. There's unwholesome karma. Like that. So how can we react to conflict? First, we can try. First, we try to guard the mind. Guarding the mind means contact with news, war propaganda, videos, or that shows injustice, etc. Instead of arising hatred, we should try to cultivate compassion for the attacker and the victim, and also ourselves. For the attacker, we understand that, this person or this country that is attacking, they are creating causes of suffering for themselves that will ripen in the future when conditions are fulfilled. So they are creating causes of suffering now. And for those who are the victims of the attacks, they are experiencing the results of their own past karma, and may they be free from suffering. May this war end soon. May they be free from suffering, and may they, during the course of this war and conflict, may they not accumulate new causes of suffering by responding with greed, hatred, and delusion, like that. Even though we may feel that it is not possible, that maybe they are not even Buddhist, but for us, it is beneficial for us to contemplate and to react like that. Okay, definitely. And then let us also have compassion for ourselves. May I not arise any defilements when I see these things happening, and may all beings be free from sufferings and causes of suffering. Like that. So this is how we get the mind and cultivate compassion for all sides, including ourselves. Okay? This includes civilians, soldiers on both sides, leaders acting from greed, hatred, and delusion. But one thing that we doesn't mean approval. Okay? Compassion means we have compassion for beings who are caught up with greed, hatred, and delusion so much that they start war and conflict. Like that. Okay, so it doesn't mean approval. And then we try to refrain from harm and unwholesome mental activities wherever possible. So peaceful protest, that's also one way. Peaceful and non-violence protest. We can try to negotiate talks. We can try to engage with activists to influence policies, to influence leaders to change their policies and attitudes towards that war and conflict issue. And then we try to support actions that reduce suffering and provide aid, like provide humanitarian aid for the civilians, provide medical aid, I don't know whether the Doctors Without Borders, they are allowed to go inside. So, or maybe help out in the Red Cross or something like that. Or Chichi, and promote harmony like that. These are the things that we can react to conflict if we are caught in a conflict. Like that. Or if we see some war and conflict going on, these are the ways that we can react. And another thing that we have to understand is that conflicts are part of samsara. War and conflicts are part of samsara. As long as there's self-identity view, as long as there's us versus them, as long as there's craving, wrong view, and defilements, then war and conflicts are part of samsara. So that is why politics, of course, if you can have better politics, is good. But if you really, really want to ultimately, get away from all these things, get away from all this nonsense, then we should try to be liberate from ignorance. We should try to escape from samsara. Because as long as and sometimes we never take the time to learn, that we think that samsara is a wonderful place, is a playground, I have a person came to me. He's a Buddhist. Maybe he do some form of practice. He has wise attention. His life is not so suffering. And then he says, Bante, I don't know why I don't know why I should practice and ordain, or I don't know why I should come here and practice meditation. My life is very good now. I have a good girlfriend, maybe no many quarrels, and have a good job. I don't know, and I learn Dhamma. My current Dhamma practice is helping me manage. Do you understand that? Your girlfriend, yes, now very good, yeah. But it's ultimately you have to face, you have to face splitting with your with the things and people and issues that you like. You have to face, as long as you don't get out of samsara. As you are in samsara, you have to. This is why we practice. And those who don't like, for those who don't have, in your life you have good relationships and bad relationships, right? Whether it's with your spouse, your girlfriends, your friends, etc. As long as you don't get out of samsara, you're gonna experience all these things. Yes, you're happy with good relationships, but hey, hello, not all the time good one. Okay, you may experience unhappy relationships, and if you don't practice, you have to study again. You have to take STPM O levels again. If they are still there, you will have to. You have to go and find work again. You have to face jobless again. You have to face the market, the market up and down again. Hello, wake up. Yeah, even if everything is fine, ultimately we have to face old age, sickness, and death. Even the leaders who started those wars and conflicts, they will ultimately experience old age, sickness, and death. It's all just phenomena arising and perishing, arising and perishing, arising and perishing, arising and perishing. So that is why when we look at the current issues, if we have wise attention, it shouldn't be making us agitated. It should be fuel for us, to really strive and to really let us be diligent in our practice. It should be something like our teachers, to encourage us to let go and to go for practice. Because if you don't get out of samsara, well, welcome to samsara. This is what you get. You have famines, you have pandemics, endemics, you have wars. Yes, you have some years of peaceful periods. Yes, you have some years of economic progress. Yes, you will have good leaders. But it's all impermanent. It's all impermanent. In an era where there is a wheel-turning monarch, for those who do not understand wheel-turning monarch, you can go and read out on the Chakravarti Sutta from the Digha Nikaya. Okay? So even if you are born in the era of the wheel-turning monarch, but you still have to face death. You still have to face sickness. And the wheel-turning monarch is also impermanent. If you want to talk about better politics, I think the politics during the wheel-turning monarch era is the best, because people keep the 5 precepts lah, they behave well lah, they may have less greed, hatred, and delusion, probably. But it's still impermanent. As long as we are still, we will encounter all this nonsense. So for those who are heartbroken because of breaking up with your girlfriend, boyfriend, etc., hey, hello. If you are not out of samsara, you have to experience this again and again. Okay. For those who are cheated in their businesses, hey, hello. If you are not out of samsara, you have to experience this again and again. For those who are experiencing difficulties with human relationships, hello. If you are not out of samsara, you have to experience this again and again. Samsara is not just this life. If we do not attain noble path and fruit, if we are lucky and we have wholesome karma ripening, and we are reborn in the human state or deva state, if bad karma ripens in our last death moment, then we may be reborn in the four woeful states, and that will be a long, long time. It may be a long, long time before we get reborn as a human again. This is tragic realism. Okay? So samsara is not your playground. We are here, we are in the human world just for holiday. Then if we never cultivate, if we never try to get out of samsara, then there's always and we never attain path, fruition, and nibbana, there's always a chance that we will go back to our old homes. What are old homes? The four woeful states. Okay? We may get reborn in the four woeful states. So if you really want to, be cultivate sila samadhi panya and try to get sara. And then if we cannot do that, then at least in this life we cultivate the Brahma Viharas and try to cultivate right view towards right view and wise attention towards wars and conflicts. whether it's between countries or whether it's between people, or whether it's between you and other people, or other people against other people. Okay? And try to communicate better. Of course, don't try not to use armed conflict. Let's try to communicate. Try to listen, and then try as best as possible to refrain from any kind of harm, whether it's armed conflict or whatever, like that. Okay? So this is just a very brief perspective, Buddha Dhamma perspective on war and conflict. So the main point here is that let us try to understand that war and conflict happens because of greed, hatred, and delusion. Whether it's like, some people talk about national identity and all that. Hello. If we look at samsara and we look at how Dhamma works, maybe in a non-violent way or fighting country A, country B, okay? Then maybe at the end of this life, you die and some karma ripen, you may be reborn in country B. And then you are a B citizen. Previous life you were A citizen, now next life you are B citizen. And then when you are B citizen, you spend your whole life trying to fight citizen A again because of the condition, the education, the upbringing, etc. Then after that, fight and fight. So if we look at things from samsara view, we have to ask ourselves, all this got meaning or not? Is this really the solution? This is what we have to ask. We cannot only look at this life. We have to look at life from samsara view. So national identity, yes, there's national identity, but we have to understand from Buddha Dhamma point of view, from samsara point of view. Okay? Then you can see whether you want to have strong attachment to this identity view. Okay? Because if you have this national identity view and hold it very strongly, then definitely there will be us versus them. Isn't it? And when there's us versus them, then there's pride, ego, conceit, greed, hatred, delusion, everything comes, and we may start conflicts because of this. Isn't it, right? According to what we have discussed. So there is the solution to all these war and conflicts, like we mentioned, is not better politics. That is also one solution. We cannot say that it's not a 1-0 thing, Okay, then I give up. I give up my national identity. I give up. It's not a 1-0 thing. Then we don't need to fight lah. Not like that. It's not a 1-0 thing. I'm just saying that if we want to live free from war and conflict, like the Buddha, then let us get out of samsara, because there's no end to all this. Okay? And in the meantime, if you as a lay person, then try to promote peace and harmony, try to contribute to peace and harmony in the society, try to contribute peace and harmony in the international circle, try to be a professional mediator. If you are a lay person, if you don't want to meditate, you don't want to get out of samsara, at least there's something that you can do, if you want to cultivate, mediate peace. I mean, we are not saying that everyone should be monks and nuns and ordain, renounce everything and meditate. I mean, it's impossible for the whole world to do that. I mean, it's good for the whole world to do that, but it's impossible for the whole world to do that. We have to be realistic. Come on. So coming back at this, at your situation, we have to consider what are the things that we can do to promote harmony, to refrain from harm, and then to learn, and then to live the Buddha's ways. If we really want to get out of war and conflict, we have to practice diligently. Hopefully, we can attain path, fruition, and nibbana this life, and we get out of samsara. If we cannot, then at least we try our best. If your ideal is not in this, in cultivating sila, samadhi, and panya, at least be a good disciple of the Buddha, to refrain from harm for other beings. Okay, then have a right view and understanding about war and conflict, and don't fall into unwise attention and negative emotions when we get into contact with all these news and propagandas and narratives, etc. Okay, and try to develop this life lah, right? I mean, don't want to, we already say like that. You don't get out of samsara, then nothing much we can do, right? I cannot force you, right? Refrain from harm, I cannot point a gun to your face and say you should meditate. Not like that, right? So the way out of war and conflict is there, taught by the Buddha, and how we should understand war and conflict between countries, between people, between organizations, between companies is there. It's the same. It's the same. The theory is the same. The principles are the same. Okay. So the solutions, whether it's long-term or temporary, are there. So hopefully let us cultivate the Brahma Viharas, peace and harmony within ourselves first, and then we spread it out to the beings around us, and hopefully may all beings around the world be free from greed, hatred, delusion, be filled with loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, be wise in doing things and handling things, be filled with forgiveness and gratitude, and lastly, may the Triple Gem bless all of us to be able to attain path, fruition, and nibbana as soon as possible. Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's the end for today's talk. Okay, so this is just brief perspective, and I think there'll be a lot of debate on this, but anyway, this is just a brief one that we can share. So hopefully it is beneficial to everyone to have peace, to have right view, to have a right Dhamma response when we come in contact with all these chaotic news and activities going on in the world. Okay? Okay, sorry. Imina punya kamena mame vala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanimbana patiya idame punyang asawakaya bahang hotu idame punyang nibbana sapachayo hotu mama punya bagang sambasattanang bhajimi te sabbe me samang punya bagang labantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.